Okay, so this weird little thing right here is called a speed mark, and it's a queen bee marker. And my first thought when I saw this thing is it kind of looks like a dental flosser, but apparently it's supposed to make marking your queens faster and safer. Now, I've never used one before, so today we're going to try it out and see if it's actually worth picking up. So here's the basic breakdown of this thing. You've got this little rubber band here on the end. And what you're supposed to do is gently press the queen up against either a frame or even a flat surface. And that holds her still while you mark her. There's no cage or anything else that goes with it. It's just this. Okay, so now that we know what this thing is and how it works, let's take it to the bee yard and test it out. Okay, so I've got a hive opened and I've already spotted the queen. So now comes the tricky part. The idea is to catch her gently, that's the key word, gently, and press her just enough so she stays still. Then you hit her with your marking pin just like normal. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little nervous doing that first one, but it wasn't nearly as bad as I expected. I thought she might wiggle around too much or try to slip away, but she actually stayed pretty still and it worked pretty decently. Alrighty, so now I'm going to go and mark a couple more queens, and then I'll be back with some of my thoughts on it. So now that I've marked about a handful or so of queens with it, what do I think about it? Well, let's first go over some of the pros of it. Now, this is one of the first things that came to mind when I started using this thing, and it's kind of slick. For people who don't want to mess with catching cages or don't like handling the queen too much, this keeps it really simple. You never have to take the queen off the frame, which is a big plus. Another great thing about it is it's really cheap. You can pick one of these up for like $2 or less. Something else that's great about it is it's super light. You can slip this thing in your pocket and completely forget about it. Another cool thing about it is it's really easy to clean. I noticed that immediately, that you can just take a wipey to this thing and wipe it right down and you're all good to go. And if the rubber band breaks, it takes mere seconds to replace it. Now, there are a few little downsides to it, so let's talk about that now. First off, if your queen is really active, or if you're not quick with your hands, it might be a little tricky to catch her, especially if you're a new beekeeper. I mean, I remember when I started marking queens, and I remember how scared I was that I was going to crush her or hurt her. And I can imagine if I started out with this thing, I would have been even more afraid. So it's something to keep in mind. Also, you got to be careful with pressure. If you're rough, you could hurt her, so practice is key. And I would recommend trying it out on a few drones first off, so if you hurt them, it's not as big a deal. Now, with all of that said, what does this thing get on the B4U-Buy scale? Well, I'm not going to rate this thing quite yet, and that's because I've only used it about 5 times or so, and I want to give it a fair shot. So I'll make a second video in the coming months. Now, would I recommend it to a new beekeeper? And my answer is, yeah, it's fast, super portable, and honestly, it's kind of fun to use. But be careful with pressure. And like I said, try it out on some drones first so you don't have to worry about it. But that's all I've got for this one. Let me know if you've ever used this little thing before or have questions. Make sure you drop a comment. I'd love to hear what you think. And hey, if you're into weird little bee tools like this, go check out my last video on the one-handed queen catcher.